So we should probably, I'll call this meeting to order. It's 6:18 p.m., October 25th, and we need to do a roll call. So will everyone go off mute and state your presence?
Marshall
This is
Allen.
Al Walden, I'm here.
And again, I apologize. I couldn't get the Zoom stuff. So, but anyway,
Okay, Marshall, you're here.
yes.
Gotcha,
Al Walden is here.
Al.
Thanks.
And Matt is not here, is that correct?
Correct.
And
it's
John, and John is not here. I'm here. And Earl is not here.
And did you get Ann?
And yes, Ann is our new board member. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you.
Do you want to let everybody know a little bit about your background and interests?
Oh, that's kind of weird over Zoom. I have already been a past golf course board member. I'm glad to be back. I think everyone knows I grew up playing golf. I'm not very good, but I enjoy it. And my background, engineering, pilot, and currently a realtor here in Longmont. So
Fun. Welcome. Glad to have you on board on the board. Let's see. Do we generally announce other people that are on the meeting?
No.
Okay. All right. Has everyone had a chance to review last meeting's minutes, which go back to April? We will need a board member to move the minutes be approved and another member to second it.
I move to be approved. Marshall.
And this is Al, I second the second.
The other thing I will say is Council Liaison Tim Waters is here also. We should have recognized him. Sorry about that, Tim.
I just keep showing up whether you recognize me or not.
Well, thank you for doing that.
I guess it would be inappropriate to say good luck with the election, Tim.
Thanks. Yeah, well, I'm just glad it's gonna be over soon. So
Oh, I can only imagine.
I can imagine. I missed the second item, which was the approval of the agenda. Did anyone have any additions or deletions of the agenda? If so, I need a board member to approve the agenda and a second to
I'll
pass.
approve. Move to be approved.
Thanks, Marshall.
Yeah.
And a second
This is Al,
to,
this is Al, I second the approval.
great, thank you. All right, next item on the is the golf professionals monthly report. I don't know who wants to go first. You just we went sunset last time. I don't know. Ryan, do you want to go through your report first?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start it off. And I guess we'll just go with September since this is where we currently are, I guess, or were. So for the revenue side of things for Sunset, projected for 2021 for September was 51,700. Actual came in at 59,650. We are behind last year. However, 2020 was a strange but great year for, I believe, golf in all aspects there. But we are ahead of overall year-to-date projections for revenue by 9.4%. Round side of things, Sunset was projected for 3452 with rounds. Actual rounds came in at 3952, putting us ahead for the year for rounds by 7.6%, but overall we are, or for that month, we were down 8.1% from last September. Really, and with October, the way October is, I don't know about Sam and Keith, but I mean, we're doing about 150 to 160 players on each day over the weekends. We're basically booked solid from open to close, minus the sporadic group that doesn't show up or other players. So it's an impressive October in my opinion right now. I don't have the actual numbers. I didn't go in today, unfortunately. Had stayed away today for just taking a day off today. So any questions for Sunset?
No, that's great. It's good, good numbers, and it helps with the weather being so nice.
Yeah, with no snow yet, knock on
I
wood.
know, we could
But
use some rain, but
Yeah, there's been nothing projected even for the rest of the month, so
I know,
we'll see.
that's great. All right. Keith, you want to present Twin Peaks?
Sure. Let's see, revenue wise for the month of September, we came in at 137,580. We had projections of 96,217 and we were, let's see, 9,335 less than last year for September. So down 6.4% for the month, but up 12.2% for the year in revenue. Then on the rounds, projected at 4,374, came in at 4,523, significantly lower than previous September by, gosh, quite a few rounds, but still for the year, 8.8% up. So I would say exactly what Ryan said. The weather has been great in October. And I think if you look back at all the months, we had a really good spring and we had a good March and a good April compared to the previous year, obviously because of COVID and how March and April and May were of 2020. So this year, once we got going, we couldn't keep up with how good the numbers were for the previous year. Although I agree with Ryan, this October, we're going to have the best October that I've had at Twin Peaks. We're probably by about 8:30 tomorrow morning over 100,000 for October, which is just amazing.
Wow.
So
Great.
yeah, and we're doing really good on the rounds as well. So it's been an amazing, we were very lucky with the weather. If you look back at last October, we had bad weather. I think there was 4 to 7 inches of snow on the same date last year as today. So we've been fortunate. We've had good weather and a lot of good golf, and the golf courses. I think I was talking to Al the other day. The golf courses are all in great shape and really enjoyable to play. Any questions for Twin Peaks?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Sam, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Been a while. Welcome back. Good to see everybody again. Even though it's on a computer screen, it's still nice to actually have a golf board meeting. And thank you for joining the board again. Welcome back. But yeah, just to echo with Keith and Ryan, it's the demand for golf is really amazing. So far through September, we've done 36,914 rounds, which is up 3,221 over the prior year. And then in revenues, we've done $1,569,000, which is $173,000 ahead of prior year.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been great. And yeah, and for the month of October, I actually took the day off too, Ryan. It was kind of nice, although I got caught up on yard work, but it was still nice to get outside and get some stuff done. But at any rate, I did run a report yesterday and we're at 121,000 month to date in revenue, which is well ahead of projections. And I do believe that by the end of the month, we will have exceeded 2020's October rounds as well. But yeah, like he said, the course is in great shape. Dan and his crew, they're doing a great job. I take my hat off to them. And yeah, again, when the weather's good, we're filling up. It's been very good. Any questions?
No,
Thank you.
I
excellent.
do have one, they forgot to mention the most important number. So remember, 2020 was the best year we've had in golf in a very, very long time. We're at the end of September, $300 and almost $29,000 ahead of last year in revenue. So that's just incredible. You know, COVID has affected a lot of things and impacted all of us, but it may have been the thing that saved golf in our country, because it's been the one thing for 2 years that everybody feels really comfortable in going out and doing, and really want to commend the golf pros and the maintenance staff on being out there every day and really continuing to make a great experience for our golfers. So it's been a great year. So thank you.
Great, I second that. Good accolades. Okay, item number 5, public to be heard. Did we ever have that outside, the person contact you, Danielle?
No, he did not. We have no one
Okay.
there.
So is there any, I don't believe there's anybody else on the line, correct?
Correct.
All right, old business on the agenda, there is no old business. So new business, Twin Peaks golf presentation, Ryan and Keith.
Yep, so Ryan will get that started and then we'll go right into the sunset presentation. We've put that all together. So
Okay,
if you have questions along the way, please interrupt and ask your questions so we don't miss anyone. And then I would also recognize that John has joined the meeting also.
All right.
oh, excellent.
Good
Welcome,
evening,
John.
everyone. See, I'll get my screen shared here for the presentation. All right, can everybody see my screen with the presentation on it?
Yes. Yeah, Twin Peaks, got it.
All right, so I'll get started. My name's Ryan Hennings. I'm the supervisor at Twin Peaks and Sunset Golf Course. So since our original meetings kind of didn't take place earlier in the year, we made the Twin Peaks and Sunset presentation one big presentation. So as we go through it, I'll do some speaking. Keith will jump in at his parts, and then Ryan Williams will jump in during his parts for Sunset, and then we'll all kind of meet back together on some different topics. And then if there's any questions, like Jeff said, feel free to speak up and we'll answer them the best we can. So with that, I'll get started here. So I'm going to start first with the project update for Twin Peaks. We started this year with basically doing a lot of the projects that we were not able to get done last year due to COVID. So one of our projects was to redo the men's restroom out on the golf course and give it a renovation by bracing the sinks that have been loose for the past few years, repainting the partitions and the walls, freshening up the hardware. And then this was due to the fact that there was some poor construction. I don't know if everyone can see my cursor in this wall where the sinks are.
Yeah.
These sinks were attached to the walls, and when they were originally built, they were not supported very well. So the company we had do the work braced the side of the men's room and then on the women's room also, why they had that wall out. And then as of now, we're planning for 22 to do the same renovations for the women's room where we'll paint the walls, freshen up the hardware, and then paint the partitions also in the women's room. So they'll both be matching.
Got my vote.
See, and then our next project we're working on, which has been kind of delayed with the whole COVID thing, is we're going to put a crusher fine cart path that goes from the restrooms out to the north by 5T and then run the entire length of the 5T box at Twin Peaks. And this was something we're going to hire one of the landscape companies in the area who does works on golf courses to put a 8-foot wide cart path made out of gold crusher fines to help, clean up that area, take care of the mud. But they had a bad springtime with all the snow we got. And then also due to COVID, they're having issues keeping enough crew to keep their other projects moving. So we kept getting bumped. And as of right now, the projects, including this one and the ones at Sunset, which we'll cover here later, they'll be taking place later this month or the first part of November, due to the fact that we decided to hold off on laying sod in the middle of winter, just for the fact that it's probably not in our best interest to try to keep sod alive all winter long, especially if we have the La Nina winter that they're forecasting with the extra dry, possibly warmer winter as predicted. So as of right now, they're just going to come in and do the cart paths at Twin Peaks and Sunset, which I'll show later on in the project here. So the next project we took care of was up by the clubhouse. We found out in the January of this year that we are losing water in our frost-free line that runs throughout the golf course that we use to water the greens in the winter or feed water out to the restrooms or the maintenance shop. And we actually found the broken pipe, or we actually had a company come in who was able to find the water leak 9.5 feet down in the ground up by the clubhouse. So if anyone has been at Twin Peaks and noticed off to the east side, there was a pine tree missing. That water leak was right underneath that pine tree, and the city forestry department deemed that that tree should be removed since we had to take out a bunch of the roots with that tree, and it was probably going to die anyway. So that's where that tree disappeared to. And these are just some pictures of the excavating who did the work for us, had to put shoring in the hole since it is so deep. And then a picture down here on the right of the pipe that actually failed. The pipe was in the ground so long that the glue and primer failed and pushed itself apart over time. So they took care of that for us, dug down there, got it fixed, patched up, and we've had water throughout the golf course throughout the year. See, and then the next part of our presentation here is the golf course part where Keith will do some speaking.
Thank you, Ryan. And before I say anything about this whole golf course part, since we just listened to Ryan, I want everyone to just know that at Twin Peaks and at Sunset this year, we were down staff significantly, and we were down, one full-time guy plus the supervisor until Ryan was named the supervisor, which has been outstanding from my perspective. He's been wonderful. And but having been down 2 positions at one course and 1 at Sunset, you just think about those man hours every week that we didn't have guys to do things and everybody had to pull together and get stuff done. I figured out that, we were down 110 hours a week of staff. And that's a lot of things that, that's a lot of time to get stuff done. And yet most of the folks that play the golf course had no idea.
Right.
So
Right.
props to Ryan, props to his staff, and Jeff for supporting him, Danielle for supporting him. It's been we're gradually getting enough staff back, and I'm looking forward to next year and being able to tackle more projects and stuff. But in the meantime, most folks can't believe that we've been down that much staff and managed to get through as well as we did. Not to mention trying to hire temporary seasonal staff has been very difficult. So
I couldn't agree more. As somebody that plays golf a lot on all your golf courses, I didn't know except for I saw the open positions. But as far as the golf course and the service that was provided, we didn't know.
Yeah.
And you guys know I play a lot.
we appreciate that, Al.
Kudos to all you guys for taking care of us golfers and your crews for taking care of the courses. They're still in great shape.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate that. And again, just thanks a lot to Ryan and his crew, and excited for next year. So talking about reversing the nines, something that we did prior to COVID during the summer was Monday through Thursday at Twin Peaks, we would actually block times off in the middle of the afternoon so that the leagues on those nights, we had leagues every night, Monday through Thursday, so that the leagues we had so many leagues that they would go off both nines, the front nine and the back nine. And so we basically turned this into a 9-hole course in the afternoons to accommodate the leagues. Well, then COVID comes and we weren't sure if we were going to get to do leagues or not. And we ended up doing leagues, but we made a choice last year to just do them off of 1-9 and keep the 18-hole because we were so busy. So we were just packed last year, and that continued into this year. So the idea of blocking times on the tee sheet in the afternoon just didn't work well at all. So this was our solution this year, because the leagues that play on Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, still wanted to play the back nine once in a while. So 1 week every month, June through September, we just flipped the nines and we started off number 10. And that allowed the maintenance crew, as it says there, to change some mowing patterns and to do a little more time on the front nine, because during the summer months, they're having to really tackle that front nine, get the cups cut, get the greens mowed, get the fairways and the roughs mowed. And they don't get to do a lot of work because the golfers are already, they're already out there. So this allowed the leagues to play that back nine. It allowed the junior golfers on Tuesdays to play the back nine, which they thought was great. It allowed the 9-hole ladies on Thursdays once a month to play the back nine. So it worked out really good. Ryan came up with it and came up with the dates, and Chuck and I and one of my staff members figured out this would be the best solution to make everybody happy. So it's worked out pretty good. So you can go ahead and next slide, Ryan. So junior golf went great this year. Literally the kids have all come back, and I think I went over the whole program earlier in the year if anyone has any questions, but we basically divide the kids up into 2 groups on Monday mornings and Tuesday mornings from 10 to 11:30, and half are on the putting green, half are on the range, and then we switch halfway through. Primary difference on Tuesdays is that afterwards they have lunch and then they can go play 9 holes. So that gets the kids out on the golf course and again helps them to get that experience and be more comfortable checking in. So the idea is that they start playing a lot more golf, which is definitely happening. And we got a lot of really good junior golfers, a lot of good high school teams, and it's just been a lot of fun working with the kids. So if anyone has any questions about junior golf, feel free to ask me any of those. Otherwise, next slide, Ryan. And so this kind of talks about what we did to kind of preserve the driving range tee, because when you get
Put you up there, right?
when you get 50 junior golfers some of the days out there on the driving range, and if we put them on the tee box, they don't all swing perfectly back and forth, and a lot of them actually swing a little bit too much up and down, so they just tear the tee box up. So been working with Brian and the crew to mow out. You can see there's a mowed out pattern. The kids are all lined up on that pattern there, and that is to the south of the driving range tee box. And so we just mowed the grass out down there, and we put the kids down there. We actually are going to use it for the winter as well to keep the driving range tee from getting so beat up during the winter. But it was great for junior golf. The kids go down there. We put the targets out for them. They have different targets that they try to knock over. We got baby pools out there. They try to knock their golf balls in the baby pools. And on occasion, you can look at the bottom right slide there. Actually, the two right slides, we have a mowed out area in the back of the range. And a lot of times we'll have a tournament on a Tuesday morning or a Monday morning that doesn't allow the junior golfers to be on the forward tee. So we will actually walk them back to the back tee on those mornings so we can accommodate the children. So that's actually on the far south end of the driving range, bordering the north side of hole number 5. And so ways to make things work even on days when we have tournaments and we're busy. So some of our members there and gives a lot of lessons. I go back there. Which will bring us to the next slide. We're gracious enough to, for the first time in my entire career there at Twin Peaks, I have. And it's nice because there were many days where I would run in and go to the restroom and come back and I had no place to teach. And so kind of staking it out and putting some signs up, it really was effective. And then there's the slide on the right, they mowed an area out down below, which is nice because if I have a lesson show up early, I can send them down there, they get warmed up. And then I can, move them up to wherever I'm teaching to the right there. So it really has worked out wonderful. And I get the privacy of being able to teach and not have people right on top of me. And I can get, sometimes if I have a group lesson, I can get 2 or 3 folks in that area there. So really worked out great. And I, again, can't thank Ryan enough for doing that for me. It's been really helpful.
That's great.
And I think, okay, yeah, next slide, Ryan. So this year, early in the season, maybe even been last fall, I can't remember, Jeff asked us if we would be willing to host a concert at the golf course. And I said, sure, and then promptly forgot about it. And then it came up in one of our staff meetings and I still had forgotten about it. Finally, I figured out we were doing it. And it was great because Jeff has a staff member down there at the recreation department named Sam Calhoun, I believe. Is that right, Jeff?
Yep, that's right.
She just took over, and this is what, it's what she does. And she just did an amazing job coordinating it all and getting it all put together, and then worked great with Ryan in terms of taking care of the golf course. And so that stage that you see, we set it up on the driving range tee box, on the south tee box. So I guess I'm happy that there wasn't a huge turnout, just because now we have a sense of how it goes and how it works. But I think probably 250 people showed up, and it was really neat. And we had all the people staged out on the south end of the driving range, and they were looking to the north at the stage. And it was really a neat thing. And I'm excited to do it again. Hopefully we'll get to do that again next year. And working with Sam was great. And I think the people that did come had a good time. And if the word gets out, it could become a really neat event for Twin Peaks.
I heard it was really good. We had some neighbors that went.
Yeah, it was really good. And it was fun inside. We opened up our outdoor bar, and because we were thinking we'd have a lot of people, but we had both bars going and a lot of staff, and had the beverage cart out on the driving range. And we now know for sure what it would take to be prepared for it next year. And if we get to do it again, I think we'll learn a lot from what we did this year. It was a good experience. So I think that is all for Twin Peaks. So if anyone has any questions, feel free. Otherwise, we'll move on to Sunset.
Can I say something? It's John.
Hey, John.
I played 18 holes there today, and your greens are fantastic. They really are in incredible shape. I don't know how you're doing it, but way to go.
Yep, they've been in great shape all summer, I thought.
Well, yeah, right. I just happened to play
Yeah.
today. The other thing is I called last Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember what it was, all day long. And they kept saying your call won't go through. And that was the whole day. And I don't know what goes on with your phone system, but something's not right.
Yeah, that was also the week before. It was a CenturyLink outage. that took place north of town, and it affected the entire city of Longmont.
Wow.
So it wasn't just Twin Peaks, it was all the golf courses and most of the city infrastructure. And it happened not just one day, it happened over the course of, I think, probably 3 or 4 days total.
Yeah, I think it happened over the weekend also.
Yeah.
Wow.
It happened too.
Okay.
So, and one thing I found out during the phone outage was, and I'm not sure how aware all of you are, I know that Golf Now runs a lot of our back end booking, and for members, it's kind of a problem, but the chat feature works pretty well. You know, you just launch the chat from the webpage, tell them your name, you're a member, what time you think you want a tee time, and they can reserve your tee time that way too. I don't know if many have tried it or if you guys have promoted it much, but it does work pretty well.
That's great. Thank you for that.
And I don't know who runs, was that piece of Golf Now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a
The
Golf Now
phone
feature.
calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, the phone calls with them, well, I think you guys are aware, but the chat does work well. So, you know, maybe it's an opportunity for others, for us to promote it a little bit and people to use it as another alternative if they're up to doing that.
That is a
Worked
great
good for me.
idea, and hopefully we don't have any more outages, but if we do, we could send an e-blast out to the folks in our database and tell them to use the chat feature, and that might be a way to get them to be able to book tee times. So thank you, Al, that's a good idea.
A great idea.
All right, so we'll move on to the Sunset Project update here. So like I mentioned earlier, we're trying to get some stuff done. So we started the year off with, I don't know if everyone's visited Sunset this year compared to previous years. We did a little move in the pro shop area to kind of improve the flow of the clubhouse and get a more defined clubhouse side and restaurant side. So that way it gave Ryan a little more room on the restaurant side for parties or luncheons or whatever else he needed. So we kind of worked together on this and, you know, got rid of the old counter. Ryan found what's used as a new counter now, had the electricity added over there, added internet, and this got everything moved in, patched up the carpeting where the old counter used to be. And I think from everything I've heard, it seems to be a pretty positive feedback for a change in the clubhouse over at Sunset.
Well,
this
I
year.
played there today and most weeks, and it was great. It looks larger, obviously more efficient and good traffic flow and good props.
Yep,
And I
so-
think that it'll benefit Ryan in the long run, right? It's kind of a almost legit pro shop now. People understand they can get their shirts, hats, balls, tees, club repair, whatever they need. Before it was a little dysfunction. I wasn't sure if we even had that because it was behind you. So I really like the new layout.
Good.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
All right, so that's the way we started out the year. And then, well, some of the stuff we've had on the books over here at Sunset that we didn't get to do last year due to COVID. And this year, like I mentioned earlier at Twin Peaks, this is the same company. It's Golf and Sports Solutions. They're the ones who actually did the work for us. Yeah, I believe it'd be 2019, leveling out some of our tee boxes over at Twin Peaks that had the crowns in them. So they're going to do some of the work over on the tees at Sunset here, which now is going to be next year. So we don't have to babysit sod through the winter, just in case we get another warm, dry winter and not as fortunate with moisture as we did last year. So I'll just kind of point at the pictures here if everyone can see my cursor. So up here on the top, this is 5T here with the whites and the blues. And this is going to be turned into one single tee box instead of having the dual tee boxes. So they're actually going to take the material with what's the blue tee box, remove it and add it down to where the white tee box is to kind of, you know, split the difference of the elevation changes. So that's going to be one big, larger tee box. It's going to span all the way over here to where this tee stone is, come all the way over by where the tree is, about where it's at here, And then they'll actually be able to extend the front out about another 3 or 4 feet. And the back will be about where the back of the current blue tee box is. So it's going to be a considerably larger tee box for number 5 there, while keeping the yardage the same because it's keeping the same footprint in the same area. And while they're doing that work, they're going to go down to the red tee box, and all they're going to do is take the crown out of that one. So they'll cut the material off the top of this tee box, flatten it out, and lay new sod down. So that one will be flattened out. And then back over on number 9 tee, they'll do the same as the red tee on 5, where they'll cut the top out of the tee box, flatten out the area, and then reinstall the sod. So now, if anyone's walked across this tee box, there's a pretty big hump or crown that goes right down the middle of it here. So they're going to take that out, level it out, and then also they notice there's a little bit of a slight elevation change. So they're going to level that out, which will add us a little more tee area back here by the pump station. And up in the front of the tee box here a little bit, because if people who have played it before know that this side of the tee box towards the west is almost unusable when during the summer when the old 9 green isn't in use, since it's a pretty impossible angle to get to new 9 green. So they're going to try to add as much as they can space over here without totally changing the shape of the tee box, which will be really nice for us.
And they're gonna get all this done in October?
Well, we were supposed to, and this is the one where I spoke with them today, and without wanting to keep sod through the winter, it kind of bumped us through the schedule because they had 2 other jobs they're working on that wanted to get sod laid this year. And we just felt for being a better investment for us with what we're spending on the sod to not risk it and go through the winter worrying about if the sod is gonna survive or not.
No.
So the parts they are gonna do are the cart paths here on 5 and 9 at Sunset. And then also they're gonna do the cart path over on 5T at Twin Peaks.
Great.
So here on number 9, they're gonna put, this will be the same material as what's over at Sunset now, like up on 8 green or 7 tee box where the turnaround is. So it's going to be a red crusher fine path that goes to right about where the gate is, all the way down the hill and back up the hill to about where, well, we need to determine, we didn't put a set ending spot in it here because we weren't sure how the cart path would hold up going up the slope, and if we get a hard rain or with the irrigation, if it would wash it out. So there still may be blacktop on the part of this cart path on 9 that goes up the hill and turns back towards the clubhouse. But this whole area by the tee box and down the hole itself will be red crusher fine. And then here on number 4 green 5 tee box, we're going to add the cart path in here to take advantage of this new tee that starts over by 4 green, comes up by the bunker, and then we're gonna make a turnaround, a half moon turnaround right here in front of the tree. And then the cart path's going to extend out towards the red tee box on number 5. And this current area that's back here behind between the tree and the bush is going to be closed off and sodded, because we met with the city forester, and that area there's a lot of tree roots. If anyone has taken their golf cart back there, not paying attention, it turns into a pretty rough ride. And the city forestry department didn't want us disturbing those tree roots in fear that it would jeopardize the well-being of that tree. So we're just going to cover that area in topsoil and sod it. So that way those tree roots can be put back underneath the ground, and hopefully that tree can keep providing plenty of shade for years to come. Let's see. And then now, here's Ryan's part about the course update on his side of it, things.
Okay, go ahead to the slide there. Perfect. So next year is our 100-year anniversary for Sunset. August 23rd, 1922 is the date that we have. We're tentatively planning on doing something on the Saturday before, because it makes sense to do stuff on the weekends when people are actually technically off. Live music, food, and merchandise giveaways, all this kind of stuff. I'm working on a lot of stuff with suppliers. I've already started that process because as Sam and Keith both know, that it has been very difficult to get merchandise right now, and it's been that for months for us. And so we're trying to jump ahead of things and hopefully get a bunch of stuff in prior to anything, especially since next year is just the 100-year. It's going to be we're planning it's going to be a good year, and I project it to be a very fun year with everything going on. Not many golf courses can state or say that they are 100 years old at this point. So I'm excited for it, being that I've grown up here, started playing when I was 11 at Sunset, and started working for Sam when I was 16 years old. So I've grown up in this whole city of Longmont. And with the pro shop the way it is, with what we had designed and what we had moved it to look like, that's what I remember the building being when I was a kid. When Keith was the pro there, I remember his counter being over by where the office wall is right now. So I felt that was something that needed to be changed, that benefits everything for the golf course, not just myself on the inside in my business, but it makes it more inviting for the customer to come in and actually say, wow, this looks good. This looks like a shop now. Any questions about what tentatively we have planned right now for next year, provided everything goes smoothly with COVID?
Looks like a good start, Ryan.
Thank you. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
Hey, Ryan, how many rounds of golf do you think that is?
100 years worth of golf. Oh Lord,
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be really interesting, considering I wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, I gave Danielle all the documentation that I had found in the golf course, and that one of the guys that plays at Sunset gave to me a binder where it had a photocopy of the original newspaper article from 1922. And then I've got meeting minutes from 22 all the way up to 56. I found like check stubs from back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So much documentation that it's unreal when you look at it. And I'm not a history major by any means, but I kind of start to nerd out about this kind of stuff. And you're reading through it and it's like, wow, we have come a long way from a horse-drawn lawnmower all the way up to, hybrid lawnmowers, electric greens mowers that we have now. It's extremely impressive to be able to see this kind of stuff. But to a section here that's really helped, now that we're able to do tournaments, leagues, that kind of stuff, having the building the way it is, it makes it so much easier to say, yes, I have seating for X number of players. So in the picture there, you can see a little spread that we did. Believe this one was for my 9-hole ladies. They just wanted to build your own burger bar. So we had set it up there in the corner of the building. It just seems to work more functionally. Everything seems to be a way better flow, obviously, but we were able to seat approximately 40 inside, and outdoor I have enough room for at least 56 to 60 people. I believe the next slide will show the outdoor section. There's a little bit where when we did the repavement,
Nice.
we took it back to the wall. And so we got a bunch of tables, and I got a bunch extra ones from Ute Creek, and I was able to actually place more. I put some out into the grass area there. to make it look more inviting, and it looks like it should be a designed patio. The way it sits there, it's away from the building, yes, a little bit, but it's underneath some shaded areas. It looks right at the tee box of number one. It's still great views right in there. So it's been really helpful having all this seating now to say, yes, I can actually do this. The Hanson tournament we have once a year, that's 90 players.
Oh.
They do 5-sums. So they have 2 5-sums per hole. We get a couple extra carts from Twin Peaks. And it's the biggest event I think we have for Sunset, besides like the city championship, but that's divided between 2 days. But to hold 90 players and say, yeah, I can seat 90 people. 50 of them sit outside, 40 of them sit outside. Most of them will actually hang out outside anyways, because it's nice, and they'll sit in their own golf carts. Because this year I told them, if you have your own golf cart, please bring it, because we don't have enough because of the issues that we've been having. But that's going to change with hopefully we get the new fleet next year. Sorry if I'm not supposed to say that yet, Jeff, but that's kind of, it's been real nice to have all this space now. Next slide. That's all I got. Any questions from my side of things? It's for Sunset.
No, looks good.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so I just wanted to add some stuff in here, just to kind of update for both Twin Peaks and Sunset, because with the bond issue that was passed a few years back, allowing us to get the money to do the irrigation systems at Twin Peaks and Sunset, and this is the same stuff for the maintenance shop over at Ute Creek. I just wanted to give an update on where we're sitting on the Twin Peaks and Sunset irrigation system. So we started back in July by issuing a RFP to send out to companies in the area that were interested in for design of an irrigation system and the construction aspects of it. We met with 3 companies at the end of July for the proposal that were interested in doing the work. After that, in the first part of August, the due dates came for the proposals, where everyone submitted their cost for the irrigation design and what other part of the aspect of the project that they were doing. And here just recently, in earlier October, we had the official contract signed with Larry Rogers Design Group, which is a pretty well-known irrigation design company. Right now, they're also working on Buffalo Run. They've done work at, I believe, down at Castle Pines. They've done some of their work. They have a very long list of other golf courses that they've done work for, and we're very fortunate to have the company of this caliber pretty much in our backyard. They're basically within a short car ride distance. We have one of the top designers in the golf industry. So is we meet this Friday meeting for the irrigation design, which will discuss the initial proceedings of then we'll go from there, where they'll tell us what they're looking for and what within a few weeks and present us with a design. Getting those full irrigation designs. From that, we'll go out and try to find contractors to do the actual work for us. So if any of 22, we'll be able that after for Sunset, and then also there's a water project going on around Sunset. We'll be doing Sunset. So both golf courses will have completely redesigned at both places. Then as Ryan mentioned, we are in the process of working towards new rental card fleets at both Twin Peaks and Sunset.
Wow.
We've updated from the current fleet we have of lead acid batteries. We're going with the EasyGo RXV Elites with a lithium battery, where the battery, I forget how many volts it is off the top of my head, but I believe the cart weighs about 400 pounds less than a typical golf cart, which will put less wear and tear on the golf course itself. These batteries are the same batteries that are in your cell phone, your laptops, that more efficient with less battery loss as they're running. They're 100% sealed, so there's no maintenance on our side of it, on the maintenance side of it. And then also these batteries take a fraction of the time to charge with the fraction of the power usage as the current lead acid batteries have in the golf carts fleets that we have at both places. And we're hoping to get delivery on them sometime over the winter or next year, depending on how the whole consumer aspect of delivery stuff is right now. Right now, it's hard to get everything right away when you kind of want it done. It's about 6 months waiting period to get golf carts built right now.
Because it's taken so long, we're also going to try to add the Ute Creek carts to this same bid process to be able to get those replaced as soon as possible. It's been a extremely lengthy process, but I think we're getting really close, and the carts for Sunset and Twin Peaks could come as early as February or March, and then probably shortly thereafter for Ute Creek.
And then just to add to it, the cart I have shown here is actually the color scheme that the new golf carts will be at Twin Peaks and Sunset. And next slide is if anyone has any more questions that weren't asked or answered during the presentation for either myself, for Keith, or for Ryan about Twin Peaks or Sunset.
I'm just delighted to hear about the carts. I played today and it was easy to find my ball in the fairway. All I had to do was to look through the hole in the floor of the cart. So they're badly needed.
We paid extra for that feature.
Well, I made use of it today, Jeff, so thank you.
Yeah, I used the cart today also, and I thought I was gonna die about 7 times. It was really bad shape.
You get whiplash from some of them.
Right.
The gas.
I have a question. So we see the revenue on these reports, but we don't necessarily see the expenses. So are the golf carts, have they been planned to be replaced for a couple of years, or is this something that was acted on because the revenue has been so high the last 2 years, or how does, and the course improvements as well, how does the revenue work against, or the expenses work against the revenue for the golf courses?
Well, last year we were able to save in the golf fund over $500,000, which allows us to do some of the things that Ryan shared this evening. The golf carts have been on our list to replace. I think we own those carts, and some of them are 7 or 8 years old.
They have an 8-year replacement life when we owned them. That was our plans when we originally purchased them.
Got it.
So we're planning on getting out of the cart ownership world and we will do 5-year leases. And we're going to do that at all 3 of the courses. It'll be slightly more expensive, but it will allow us to rotate the carts out more in a more timely manner, that we don't get into the situation we are with the carts that are at Twin Peaks, which the ones we own, most of those you're not even seeing. We've had to go to a rental of carts that's costing about $6,000 a month because of the delay in being able to get the new carts to Longmont. But again, we're pretty close. We went to a lease of carts at U Creek in 2018. Their 5 years will be up, and so there, I think that lease ends in March of next year. So again, we hope to have those new carts in as close to March as possible. It just kind of depends on the manufacturers, because they don't make carts until you order them. And so there is a delay in getting them. And like with everything else, there's shortage of materials as well.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, excellent.
Ryan, could you quit sharing your screen, by the way?
Yep. Gotta share this one though. All right.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ryan or Keith or Ryan?
And from me,
Okay. Well, I think it's been a challenging year, and we didn't get nearly as much done as we had hoped, just because every time we turn around, companies are short of staff or overbooked. And so we weren't able to get the flattening or leveling of the tee boxes done. But because we were on the list, we'll be able to get those done fairly early in the year next year, so that they're up and operational before the city tournament in July. The only other bond project that I'll just talk a little bit is we've been working on hiring another architect for the maintenance building out at U Creek. As you're aware, we removed the past architect. Been working with the city manager and the planning staff on how best to move forward at the Highway 66 site. I think we have a plan now, so we're ready to get a architect on board so we can get that moving and hopefully have that maintenance building completed by the end of 2022. Tim, I'm not going to steal your thunder, because I think that you will have something you want to share that you were instrumental in doing. So if you want to share that right now, I think that would probably be a good thing.
Before we share that, has the decision been made, Jeff, to actually to do the maintenance site on the 66 site as opposed to?
Yes, we believe that's the better place to go. It will have the least impact to the neighbors. So we are going to try to build out there.
And we can do that with whatever the constraints are in terms of the Highway 66 plan. That's all worked out.
Yeah, we believe that with the time it's taken since we removed the last architect, that we've been able to do some negotiations that are going to make it less expensive on the project, and feel like we can move there and have a quality product there.
Outstanding. I didn't realize that. That's really good news.
Yeah.
So 2 things I'm sorry, go ahead, Marshall.
no, I'm done. Just reacting.
Just some, information that what Jeff's talking about is, as we went through the budgeting process this year, one of the things that we squeezed into the budget was funding for the design to finish the Ute Creek clubhouse. In 1996, I discovered during the art walk back on September 11th there was a time capsule that was opened up, and 25 years ago, you know, people put in the time capsule what were the big things that were happening in Longmont that they were most excited about. And when they opened that time capsule up, one of the things they pulled out was the layout for Ute Creek, the golf course, and the clubhouse. So in 1996, that was important enough that it got into the time capsule. 25 years later, that project isn't finished.
Right.
But I'm telling you, that project is going to get finished.
That's
So we're going
Yay.
to do the design work in this year. And it's at the top of my budget list going into 2023 that we start accruing whatever's going to be required to finish that project. So Sam, before you think about retiring, recalibrate your schedule, brother. We're going to get that done. Unrelated to that, but I was going to ask a question about carts, but you've answered my question. I have a question that I'd appreciate some feedback from this group on. I don't know if we have any openings on the golf committee, and if any of you would be reapplying, or if there are any seats to fill, and we'll be interviewing. But you've all gone through that process of meeting with city council and 5-minute, these kind of snapshot interviews, which for me as a council member has always not been there, or has never been very satisfying. The people who know most about the needs of the golf committee are you, the members of the committee, Jeff, and our golf staff, our pros, and everybody who's associated with the enterprise. So it's always seemed a little odd to me that the council, who knows, most of them know nothing about golf, but we're the ones that are interviewing in 5 minutes and making judgments about who should be on the committee. Y'all do your applications, and that's an important part of the process. I've argued unsuccessfully that the process ought to start with our boards and commissions doing the interviews, to lay out the process, and then you make recommendations to the council, and the council then interviews who you recommend, so that the council has a role in it. I've not been able to persuade other council members that that's the approach, but we're going to have a new council coming up here after next Tuesday. Even one person is a new council, and we'll be going through new assignments. I don't know what my status will be in terms of the boards or commissions I'll be a liaison to. This may be my last meeting with the golf board as the liaison. We'll see how those assignments get made. But we will soon be in a conversation about what's the approach the new council should take to the whole process of interviewing and appointing applicants to boards and commissions. So I'm just curious whether or not the opportunity to interview applicants and make a recommendation is something that would be of interest to you, or would you rather have us do it the way we've been doing it? I mean, it takes more of your time.
Tim, I've been through it a couple times on the golf, and then, as you may recall, in the former Channel 8.
Yep.
It's the 5 minute doesn't do squat.
Yeah.
I don't understand why there's any opposition, but let me just simply say, I think your suggestion is superb. I think each commission or board should be able to interview, make recommendations, and send it forward just for city approval. You're right.
Well, it adds to your schedule. It'll take time. And then now it's a two-step process then, right? You interview. I'm pretty certain council members are going to want to have their fingerprints on these appointments. And so it would be a recommendation to council. Council then would interview whoever you've recommended. And, unless there's some issue that pops up, it would simply be to kind of affirm or validate your recommendations. But it would be helpful to me to know from you all whether or not that's an approach you would want to see, or you would say, don't do that. And if it doesn't work in your minds, it's not something I'm going to try to push.
I think it's a valid suggestion, and I would certainly endorse it.
Any other thoughts? Thanks, Marshall.
Hearing none.
Does silence mean you're going, I don't know that I want to do this? Or what?
No, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I don't know how it's been done in the past. I've only served 2 years on the board. So, I just don't know how it's been done in the past.
You don't remember that extensive interview you went through?
No, I don't recall going through the interview. I know I talked to Jeff, but
Wasn't very memorable, was it?
guess not.
Or are you even on the board legally then?
I think this is my
Yeah,
last.
don't say anymore, Marcia. Don't say anymore.
I'm done.
I think I'm the newest member. I sure remember the interview. I didn't understand from that interview what you were really looking for. I really wanted to be on the board, so I did some homework ahead of time, especially with Keith. And but it was a part of me that was disappointed that somebody didn't ask a question about why we're doing it or what was going on, or there were no questions. Now, in 5 minutes, my gosh, I don't know what you expect in 5 minutes. The only thing you had was my bio. So
Yeah.
I just think it'd be nice to be able to talk to somebody that wants to be on the board and find out a little bit why, and a little more conversation and that works both ways, in that if the person who is being interviewed feels like that they care about you as an individual and want to know about you, I think that adds to the position itself.
Well, it just seems to me that you all, Jeff and our pros, know way more about what you need, the background, the interest, the connections that applicants have with our golf program than the council does. And I'll leave it at that. If that's something, Jeff, it's going to come up before this group meets again. We'll be in that process. I mean, we've got it on the calendar early December. I know the date we're scheduled right now to do interviews, and I'm gonna. What I'd like to have a sense of with this new council is whether or not we ought to hold that date for the council to interview, or set up a process that allows to say to our boards and commissions, get your interviews done by that time, and the council will interview your nominees or your recommendations, and in a date soon after you go through that process. So think about it. Whatever feedback the pros or you all want to share to Jeff, and then just give me a heads up what your thoughts are. Right? Yeah. All right. Thanks. It's been fun. I've enjoyed. I love the program, and I love everybody in it. I've known Sam since he was a high schooler, and Keith since I moved to Longmont. So the connection's been a lot of fun, and I hope I get to stay connected. So
Great.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
Thank you for your service, Tim. Appreciate it.
Right.
Thanks, Tim. We appreciate everything as well. And I just want to say thank you for setting the clubhouse in motion. I very much appreciate that. You can probably tell by the gray on my chin, I'm getting close to retirement, but not quite that close. So I hope to be around to see it happen. So,
well, the wheels are in motion now, Sam.
well, thanks again, Tim. I really appreciate it.
All right, any other items from the staff?
Nope.
All right, items from the board.
None for me.
Run for me.
Then I think we're looking for a move to adjourn the meeting.
I will be happy to make the move to adjourn.
All
I'll
right,
second.
all right, great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Good luck
Thank
to
you. Good
Tim.
night.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Thank you.